You're trespassing on community property. That's how it started. The kind of line you'd expect in a courtroom drama, not from a woman standing dead center behind a gate blocking the dirt road to my family's cabin. For a moment, I just stood there, not believing what I was hearing. My parents' land, all 2.3 acres of it, belonged to us since '87. 10 years away in the city, chasing jobs, never prepared me for the day I'd come home and find private community signs zip-tied to a fresh metal fence, my family's name nowhere in sight. I took it in, the hum of surveillance cameras, tracking my every move, a voice barking from a speaker overhead demanding a resident access code or for me to turn around and leave. My hands shook as I dug out the old deed, the one I'd kept tucked away like a piece of my father's memory. Who the hell turned my childhood home into a no-go zone? I could smell the pine trees, but there was a bite to it now, a sharp tang of paint, metal, ozone, and something else I couldn't quite place. If you've ever found yourself on the wrong side of an HOA fence, you know that feeling. It hits you right in the gut. When I pressed the intercom, I was almost hoping for a misunderstanding. Instead, this woman, Stephanie Parker, as she called herself, chairwoman of something called the Pine Ridge Community Association, stepped out of a booth I'd never seen before, business suit and all, like she'd just walked out of a board meeting. She was maybe late 40s, every hair in place, and her smile was the kind people use when they're about to sell you something you can't return. She told me my cabin was now within the boundaries of the community, her words practiced and polished like she'd given this speech a dozen times. And just like that, she started rattling off numbers. There are annual dues, $2,400 a year, and you owe $18,000 in violation penalties for not keeping your property to code. 20 grand. Like it was a parking ticket. I could barely listen. My mind flashed back to summers building campfires with my dad, him telling me, "Son, a man's word and his land are the only things he really owns. The rest can be taken." When I asked for proof, Stephanie's smile faltered just a hair. She produced a laminated map, pointed to a bold line that supposedly looped my cabin into her world. The stamps and seals looked official. I mean, if you'd never spent years combing through municipal filings, you might just swallow it whole. But the devil's always in the details, and the more I flipped through her folder of official documents, the more I saw photocopies on top of photocopies, like a set piece built to fool the casual eye. She led me down the path, heels clicking on the fresh asphalt where my bare feet used to touch warm dirt, listing off all the new community improvements that had bulldozed everything I loved about the place. I watched blinds snap shut and heard whispers about outsiders and troublemakers. Her paperwork was impressive, I'll give her that, but it was all smoke and mirrors, new names on ballots, new bylaws, all cobbled together just well enough to hold up until you started asking the wrong questions. When I pushed for the original charter, the legal process, the records, suddenly, I wasn't a member in good standing. Pay first. Then you can see the proof. Yeah, right. I know a bureaucratic shakedown when I see one. Out on the land, it was worse. The markers she pointed to on her map didn't match the old brass medallions set deep in the soil by county surveyors decades ago. The fence wasn't just on the line. It had jumped 15 feet into my family's lot, swallowing the old oak tree that marked our eastern border. That tree was in every childhood memory I had, now inside a community I never asked to join. And then there was the twist. Turns out, 3 other families joined this so-called community in exactly the same way. All of them owned waterfront property. What a coincidence, right? It stunk of something bigger. I headed straight for the county records office, where Ashley Cooper, practical, shoes, no-nonsense ponytail, helped me dig through old deeds and surveys. The paper trail didn't lie. Our property, 2.3 acres, 300 feet of lakefront, perfectly described in every legal filing sense. 1987, the Pine Ridge Community Association. Its charter listed 12 residential lots. None of them ours. No paperwork for expansion. No legal way they could swallow our land without our consent. Ashley's face turned grim as we found more. Every single new member owned a chunk of lakefront. None of them had ever agreed to join. It was organized, systematic. She'd been fielding calls from elderly landowners and city folks like me, blindsided by fake violation notices and sky-high fees. The more people just paid to make it go away, the more these folks raked in. The money trail wound straight to Stephanie and her husband Michael Parker, the county commissioner, running real estate shell games and banking on folks not knowing their rights. I found emails, Michael spelling out their waterfront acquisition strategy. Their plan? Squeeze out non-compliant owners, pave the way for a luxury resort. I saw the renderings, 30 cabins, a private marina, my family's land right in the middle. They'd already started tearing up the shoreline, cutting down that old oak, dumping runoff into the water, turning a clean lake into a construction zone. Jake Wilson, a fishing guide, whose family had been here for generations, showed me the damage. His voice trembled as he pointed out dead fish, muddy water, a wrecked ecosystem. It's not just about money, he said. It's about erasing everything that made this place special. I hired a surveyor, Robert, meticulous, measured every inch with GPS, just to be sure. The fence, the cameras, the pier, all built on stolen land, and the tree my dad carved his initials into, gone. Cut down for lumber. It hit me harder than I expected. When we met with a lawyer, Daniel Roberts, old school, coffee-stained files. Everywhere, he'd seen this before. HOA bullies using loopholes, targeting people who couldn't afford to fight back. He pulled the other families together at Molly's Diner, and over burnt coffee and cheap pie, we realized we weren't alone. The Martinez family, living on Social Security, hit with $17,000 in fees. The Hendersons, factory retirees, threatened with liens. The Johnsons, school teachers, facing financial ruin over violations they never agreed to. We became friends of Pine Lake, started making noise, brought in Amanda Taylor, a reporter with a nose for corruption. Stephanie's camp lawyered up, sent us threats, tried to drown us in paperwork, even filed fake police reports to get us off their land. Surveillance cars, drones at night, harassing calls, classic. Intimidation. But Amanda's investigation broke the story wide open, splashed our fight across the front page, then TV, then statewide. Turned out, this scam wasn't unique. There were similar land grabs in 4 other counties. When the environmental agency finally got involved, they confirmed everything Jake warned about. The pier was illegal, the runoff was real, the damage would take years to fix. The county commission meeting was standing room only. The Parkers came with their shark lawyer and boxes of documents. But the commissioners, armed with our proof, weren't buying the show. Michael had to recuse himself. Stephanie's claims fell apart under cross-examination. Daniel dropped the bomb. My consent form to join the HOA? A forgery. Handwriting analysis proved it. Environmental reports sealed the deal, $25,000 in fines, orders to tear down everything they'd built on our land. The relief in that room, you could feel it, like the first spring. Wind after a brutal winter. County crews came out, ripped down the fence and gate, hauled off every last bit of wire and camera, restored the shoreline. Neighbors came together, rebuilt a simple wood fence, not to keep people out, but to mark what we'd saved. The Parkers vanished, their LLC dissolved. For once, justice wasn't just a word. Jake took me out fishing that fall, water clear again. The Osprey diving for fish. It felt like we'd turned back the clock, at least a little. And at our community barbecue that September, folks who'd once been strangers shared food and stories along a shore that was ours again. Kids splashing where concrete almost replaced the beach. Elders passing on memories to the next generation. I found a letter from my dad, hidden among old maps. Son, the land doesn't belong to us. We belong to it. Fight for it. Yeah, Dad, I finally understood. Ashley got promoted, brought in blockchain record keeping. Now no one can fake deeds in our county. Our little group started teaching workshops on spotting HOA fraud, how to check records, how to fight back. Other towns started calling, wanting to know how we did it. 2 years later, the lake's a protected watershed. The land's safe, the water's clean, and my family's cabin stands right where it's supposed to. That's the lesson. When someone tries to steal what's yours by hiding behind fancy paperwork and intimidation, don't just walk away. Dig deeper, team up, and fight like hell. Corruption thrives on silence and exhaustion, but persistence, real, relentless. Persistence wins. Share this story if you've ever faced down a bully, lost faith in the system, or wondered if ordinary people can beat the odds. What do you think? Was justice really served here? Or is this just round one? Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk about what community really means.